Question 1 is simply a summarization of text. Summarize all the key facts and points within the text. Pick out subtle points, humour, satire, irony. Make sure you include the unobvious points the writer is trying to make to receive extra marks. Question 2 is solely about presentational features, such as the headline, the text, and the image, and how they are in relation to each other. Again, look closely at the image. Can you pick out something that wouldn't be obvious to most people? How does the headline link to the picture, and how does it link to the text? Is there wordplay? Is there pun? Is there alliteration? Is the writing in bold? Is the image bright? Is the image colourful? Pick out all the presentational features that you can, and add interesting, and backed up quotes and comments to make sure that the examiner can see exactly where you're coming from. To pick up extra marks in this question, again, pick out something that would not be obvious to most people. If you can see something that somebody else wouldn't, within the picture, the text, or the headline, then write it down and make a clear comment as to why you believe it's true.
Question 3 asks you to explain thoughts or feelings of the writer. Do not include language analysis. Do not include the effect on the reader. Go through the piece of text and write words like fear, anxious, happy, sad. If you go through and mark these words next to what the writer has written, then you can explain how they are feeling from beginning to end. You can include some of the quotes that the writer has written, because that explains the thoughts. Again, be very careful with this question and only give the examiner what they ask for. Do not include language analysis. Question 4. I know many of us struggle on. You have to compare the use of language in two texts, one of which you have chosen. Basically, in this question, try and find words that have a connotation, like home, a word that makes you think of a certain aspect, like warmth and comfort, or like roses that actually connotate love. Use the word juxtaposition and write how the writers place words close together but that have contrasting qualities. Always use the word parataxis, where placing together of sentences, clauses or phrases that do not have a conjunctive word or words. Use the technique DeForest. Give examples of why these features have been used and the effect it has on the reader. Direct address secures the attention of the reader. Alliteration. In regular writing and speech, alliteration provides emphasis and sometimes aids in memory. For instance, if you title your speech The Menace of Money rather than Money is Bad, people will be more likely to remember it, sometimes for dramatic effect. effect. Rhetorical questions often make statements. Facts or figures are to inform or make believe. Juxtaposition, semantic fields. Comment on the connotation of the most interesting word in the semantic field, and why the writer wanted to use that particular word in the semantic field. Jargon. This is never a paragraph on its own, and is combined with other techniques, but is a nice word to throw in there. Lists. The words used in the list and their connection, and why they are included together. And if it's a longer list, write about why the writer has broken the traditional structure, which is normally a rule of three, generally to create a sense of claustrophobia and overwhelming. Alliteration, more specifically plosives, fricatives, liquids, sibilant sounds, and what they simulate, the sound of, etc. And then talk about the connotations of the words being alliterated, comparatives and superlatives, generally used with other points, and the connotations of the comparatives is talked about, if relevant, such as greener suggests an increase in nature's beauty, or something more rich than that. Statistics, again, these are used with other points and never alone. People use statistics, then opinion, and then maybe facts, to make the opinion more believable. Rhetorical questions. The words used in the rhetorical question, and if there are rhetorical questions back to back, half rhyme, which is a bit of structure, though I also link it back to language by talking about the rhyme words. And finally, imagery, especially colour imagery. Make sure you use these things in question 4. This is always the most complicated question for most of us. Do not just stick to the forest. If you can, look up all the words that I've used, like plosives, fricatives, sibilant sounds. Question 4 will always ask you to describe something. This is where you can gain a lot of marks by using the correct grammar, punctuation, and descriptive language. Try and vary your sentence structures. Try and use advanced punctuation. Try and use advanced language. Do not use cliches. Do not use simple words like good, get, very. Try and use a more advanced approach when starting sentences with adverbs ending in ly, or with ing words. Question 5 relies on your descriptive language to promote imagery within the examiner. If you use advanced language and promotes an image within their mind, you will get higher marks. Question 6 always seems to be about arguing or persuading, writing an article or a letter or a blog. So really you need to know how to argue or persuade for this one. Again, you really need to use descriptive writing and advanced language to get the higher marks in this section. Remember to always recognise the viewpoint of the opposition, acknowledge that viewpoint, and then develop on that viewpoint as to why you believe the opposite. Use rhetorical questions and use language such as short and long sentences, adverbs, adjectives, and try and be as effective as you can on the examiner, but don't be aggressive. Get your point across, but passively, and always use formal language if it's a letter to someone like a headmaster. If it's for a student blog,